Open Bikini Overall Champion, competitor number 16.
All right, guys, welcome to today's video where we traveled from Tampa to Tulsa, Oklahoma a few weeks ago for a bodybuilding competition. Now, as you guys know, we've been traveling under these current conditions on Southwest. They had the middle seats open, but we made it all the way to Oklahoma for this competition because Oklahoma was one of the first states to reopen. So we actually took a big squad there, and this map is to show you where Oklahoma is. It's specifically for Lauren Conlon because she tends to get confused. But Tulsa's a big city. Like, we had a lot of fun there. Luckily, Dani Krshka and her husband invited us to stay with them, so we had a great place to stay. And we brought a big crew. Daraja, myself, Steven, April, and Daraja were all there to support the team. We all had clients competing. But I thought we'd talk a little bit about the competition because I know a lot of people have been concerned about how these competitions would go. Would people be wearing masks? This is Cassie. It's her first ever time competing. She was one of my clients, so wanted to get her on film. But I also got my man Steven here, whose client ended up taking the overall. You saw him in the clip there, so good job, Steven. So let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing here, Steve.
Yeah, so this looks like we're still in the novice classes, and obviously Sophie's here looking really, really good, and who is your client. And I believe that one of Dani's clients is also in the background on the backstage. And so they're just doing their first lineups and looking at everybody, and then we're going into the open class here for Class A. So the show still was pretty moderate. They had 80 competitors total. So it was nice, but we had maybe some taller girls. Shannon's not used to being in Class A herself, and you can see her there in the center right, which was really nice because they just kind of put her there and left her alone the entire lineup for all of prejudging, which is always really a good sign for us, pretty comfortable in that, especially when your other center moves around a bit. So very, very happy with her posing and her presentation, as, it actually hurt her to pose as we had a spinal injury, just kind of from something prior, really flare up about 4 weeks out. And it was tough for her to get on stage and to go in and really just pull it together. So we used actually more cardio than she had done all prep during peak week and on show day, just to loosen that up to help her to be able to pose a little bit better too.
Yeah, so all in all, I mean, from check-ins to the show, it ran kind of like a normal show. They broke the chairs out a little bit. This is Sophie doing her individual routine. They broke the chairs out so there was a lot of space for us to move around and be comfortable in there. We had a pretty good group of people with 5 coaches and 7 total competitors, so we created like our own little section. But where some of the other shows are taking other precautions with masks, Oklahoma was a little bit more open with this. I don't know if this will continue. This is Megan Brynock, another one of my clients. But for me, it felt like a normal show. I mean, did you feel any difference being at a show? Because it's been a while.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely been a while, but it was, super comfortable, just like you would have expected in 2019. It almost made you question what year it was because of how normal it felt, just not only with our competitors and backstage, but with even our other clients coming to hang out and see one another. It was, just business as usual almost, which was weird.
Yeah, honestly, after traveling on an airplane the weekend before and this weekend wearing a mask, Florida has instituted pretty much wear masks everywhere. We felt weird not like being in that kind of a situation in Oklahoma. And here we are with the awards for the open class. I think Sophie took 4th there, and Stacy ended up taking 3rd. That was Dani's client. So it came down to the final 2. Now, the young lady on the left had won the overall in Oklahoma a few weeks prior. So it was between her and Shannon for first place, which was a big deal. And Steven got really excited once Shannon won her class because she had to sacrifice a lot to get here. Like he said, she was dealing with an injury. So we were thrilled. We were thrilled with just overall everyone on the team, how they performed. It just felt good to be around people, go to a show, and enjoy the process. So tell me what you're thinking now, because now you've got a girl going in for an overall. Now, they had 3 classes in the overall, A, B, and C. So where are you at?
Yeah, so I wasn't paying attention to B class at all because Shannon was my only client there. And so you see the girl in B class in the center there, and she looked good too. And the girl in C class also looked really good, but very different looks. So I was just kind of, obviously you're always a little bit nervous when you're waiting on something big like this, but just extremely happy with the presentation we brought, with the look we brought. She really stood out. She has more muscle than the other competitors, very dense. And so, I had hopes, and I was like, all right, this is going to be really good. So I felt that she had the best look. I thought C was also really good too, and B as well. But you never know exactly what the judges are thinking. So you just have to say, hey, we're competitive, we're in it, and that was really where I was at. So right here, she's just doing a good job keeping it simple, keeping it easy, trying to make it as less stressful on the back as possible, because again, that was really painful for her to get into that back pose. The front pose she was very comfortable in, though.
Yeah, so the girl that won Class B, I remember when she came out, I recognized her from the Arnold. She had done the Arnold in March, so she had been competing all year. This is June that we're in now, so obviously she's a very good competitor, winning her class. So I do think the overall was a bit unique, because I think you could have made a case for any of them to win, and it was specifically what they wanted on that day. Definitely Shannon had the most muscle, I think was the most conditioned. And if I had to say, I think she had the best presentation on stage. Just because she was injured, you wouldn't have known that. She really held her poses well, didn't fidget, and, took home the overall. And Steve, you lost your mind. So what were you thinking here when you heard the announcement?
So this is the first overall I've gotten to actually be at in person, which was just absolutely amazing. But for me, it just made my heart super happy to see her rewarded for all of her hard work. She didn't, let this year get to her. She kept on trucking through. So, it's one of those things you don't get more proud as a coach than when someone goes through all that adversity, the hard times, so much uncertainty, and comes out and gets rewarded for it. So I was just, beyond proud. You don't get to, get a bigger win than that very often. So it was real nice to see that come through and that happen.
Yeah, and it's actually really exciting for me, because you technically beat me. So I was like, I should have been better, but having you get a win in front of me, it almost is like when you're watching your own competitors compete, you get more nervous. I was more nervous for you and your client than I would have been if it was me and my client. So I really enjoyed seeing you win. And what really made the trip for me was kind of reconnecting with everybody, having Dani take us into her house, and we all stayed there with her. Daraja came, April drove over in the middle of her, registered dietitian internship. So she's been busy. And then here we have a picture of you with your girls. So who are they?
So this is Kendra, who's competing this month also at the Dexter Jackson. And then we have Alicia here as well, who's going to be doing the Tampa Pro and then looking at nationals as well. So great competitors, hard workers, all, So good to get to finally meet Kendra in person, and then Alicia, obviously good to see her again, as she's always a blast to be around too.
Yeah, and this is Dani's girls, and they were such a joy to be around. They actually came over to the house to pose on the Saturday morning before the show, and we got a good workout in. It was cool to have Brian Whitaker come over. So I don't know, it just reminded me like what we love about this sport, going to a place, getting to hang out with our people. I really had fun. I had never met any of these girls in person before. So this is Sophie and Megan and Cassie. And so they were from Texas. And the reason that they did this show is because as a lot of the shows were getting canceled, Oklahoma made sense. Lauren Conlon, it's pretty close to Texas, just for future reference. So, yeah, this was a really fun thing. And one thing my experience has taught me is like take advantage of these moments and go get some pictures. So we had some fun goofing around, taking pictures. Now, we didn't hire a professional photographer. This is all yours truly, setting these shots up. But, I learned lessons from my other photographers that I have hired, because shows go so quickly that you almost forget to capture the moment, and then a whole day goes by and you don't have a whole lot of memories from it. So these are the things that you actually remember, are these pictures. And that's actually why we're doing this video, is because I want to have like a memory of this 2020 year, which has been so weird for all of us. Here's all the competitors, all the coaches, just hanging out. And this for me is what the whole Pro Physique is about. So like, what are your thoughts about the weekend? Did you have a good time?
Oh, it was an absolute blast. Like you said, it was Dani and her husband just made it super easy and convenient. They were phenomenal hosts. All the competitors were super happy. I think it was just such a positive experience, reminding us again of why we love this sport and why we love doing what we do so much.
Yeah. So that's what it's become about, is like, as we set up these competitions and shows, we've become like this little traveling family of people that just love to compete, love to support each other, love to work really hard, because at the end of the day, we do want to win. And so it did feel good for Team Pro Physique to go out to Tulsa, Oklahoma, not our backyard, and to bring home a lot of trophies and the overall. So good job, Coach Steve. Woo!
That wasn't bad, I don't think.